Heading into the eye of the storm. I'm gonna go cut some timbers for the mine. Definitely gonna be a little hairy, supposed to be some pretty bad lightning. I don't know if heading to a high elevation mountain's the best idea, but it's gotta get done, and well, nothing to it but to do it, boys. Hazard tree out that was hanging way over the road and very unsafe. So now we're gonna make the most of this hazard tree and turn it into timber for the mine. Now that we've taken our hazard tree, we've cleared off all of the overburden brush. One of the first things you want to do when you fall that hazard tree is double check your canopy, make sure that there is nothing that poses an imminent threat. These can be widowmakers, these can be snags as such. Now these snags are extremely dangerous. This is another hazard tree that's going to have to go. Alright, I brought down some stickers to put these logs on. Now you can see I've got one bad length of log I'm going to try to use. We're going to go ahead and start taping this out. Now I got my nail bags on because I am a carpenter by trade, so I'm going to treat this like I'm cutting beams. Let's go ahead and get the log marked out and we'll go from there. First thing we did was we marked out a 6 foot for our header. We got an 8 foot here for a post, another 8 foot. We got an 8 foot segment at the end with a 4 in the middle. So let's go ahead and whack this up. One thing you want to do when you're running a brand new chain is always be checking that chain, because you don't want to throw your chain and end up hurting yourself up here alone on the mountain. Alright, when free milling, the first thing you want to do is run that saw tip on the line that you want to cut. Now I followed it through over here, and now yeah, it's a little swayed to the side, but that's alright because these are timbers for a mine. It's not like we're putting them in a house or under a house. So once you have your first line cut, now you can start following that all the way through. As you can see, we have the first face cut, starting to look like a beam. Now let's go ahead and do the next one. As you can see, we've gotten this log milled on 3 sides. So now we're going to go ahead and just mill this one section. I got the machete here, and we'll use that to peel off any bark, like this line that you can see there, because bark causes premature rot. Milled roughly an 8 by 8. I got 9 inches there, 8 1/4 off the top, so not a bad deal there. That definitely ought to hold something. Now I'm going to go into production mode here and I'll show you what the rest of the milled timber looks like. Got Anthony over here digging down for our posts. This is where the first set's going to be. And then just behind him, I'm going to start digging out for the second set. Alright, so as you can see, this is going to be our header. The top of that is peeled back because I don't want the bark to cause premature rot. Now we got to notch these for our post to sit on top of. You can see that's a 7-inch notch. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I've marked a line on it. You can see we've got our overhead boards. A couple of these posts are running out of time for this weekend, so we're going to go ahead and get these in there. I'm going to try to peel enough of these that I can go ahead and get access to them later and finish stripping them in the mine. Now we've managed to dig down for our posts, and this is going to be our first set. Alright, we're getting ready to set the header here. You can see where I have spray painted. That's some of the rock I want to take out. The concern that I have is I've got some pretty heavy fractures all the way across, almost following this line. This bank up above me is ready to go down, but I've got a road right there, so I'm not sure how much of that I'm comfortable with taking. At some point, I'm going to have to drop that, but not until I have the timbers in here. Alright, so we got this bank that I was just talking about. I'm trying not to stand under it. I've got a hard hat. It's not quite the right hard hat for this, but hopefully it'll help protect me. because that whole thing is moving. Not going to take any more. I'm just going to set the header there and go from there. All right, you can see we have a temporary post in there supporting the center of that beam. And we have our first genuine post in there. Now, we've both agreed in conversation, him and his boy are going to get out of here. And I'm just going to go ahead and timber this out. We were going to go in, but due to safety concerns, I think it's better that we secure the portal. All right, as you can see, we got the first set in. I think it looks pretty good. You can see that I got that dug down so that when we eventually go deeper and get all this cleared out, we'll be good to go. Now I'm going to go ahead and start on getting this covered up, so that way we're not in such a risky position here. All right, it's going to be kind of hard to show this here, but I'm using the machete here with 2 hands to peel this bark. As you can see, not bad. All right, I got a massive mess out here. Definitely gonna have to get this cleaned up today, but here it is. Super happy with how this came out. Now, I couldn't get that quite up as high as I wanted to for this board right here, but that's okay. All that is just to block any headache rocks that might roll through, and I'll fill that gap in eventually. Got a couple 45s, just because I could. So, got those shims in there because this is green wood. It's all going to have to be tightened up, and eventually I'll get some real big shims for it. But you can see these boards are super thick. Now, there are some gaps in here, and that has to do with the logs thinning out and just not being the best at cuts. See, this guy's kind of wide, but this is for mining, you know, so the milling that we did is perfect. I could get super big lumber that hopefully will help hold up this mountain, and eventually we're gonna have to deal with this mess. I got a block shoved in there for now. I'm gonna try to get some other blocking in there, just some stuff to try to support this in the meantime.